Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Mythgard in Middle-earth. My name is Corey Olsen, the Tolkien professor, joined as always by my friend Gryfflet, who is sitting and refreshing himself here in the mead hall of Elfmar, son of Elfhelm, who has always been one of my two favorite of the marshals of Rohan. So he's loving being down here. Well, honestly, I mean, he would love being anywhere but cliving at this point, but this is, of course, better than he could possibly have expected. So we're about to start setting things to rights down here in the southern part of the Norcrofts. Having just gotten here and basically just collected the quests last time, we saw the duel, right? The sparring between Horn and Nona at the end of last time. Some sparks kind of flying there as Corodan was observing. That was kind of fun. I think that the Horn and Nona story is kind of a brilliant and charming story, and one that I think that they handle really well. I think there's so many elements of the storytelling in Lotro, which is so good, and not only, as of course I've said many times before, the cleverness of the cleverness and respectfulness of their adaptation of Tolkien's works, but even their own stories that they have made up and developed often are really, really good, and I think that this one is certainly a really fun one. But anyway, so we're gonna have to we have to talk to them out in the courtyard to continue the epic quest, but I know the epic quest is just going to send us off to Eowyrth, which I'm not quite ready to do yet because we only just arrived down here in Faldham. Anyway, so I'm trying to remember what I have to do here. I have to speak to Sehard about the strange creatures. All right, let's. We're still going to start to set things to rights here. Okay, down here in Faldham, and I have to admit I'm not quite sure exactly how to pronounce the name because, of course, in Tolkien's Elvish languages, DH is the voiced the sound, like the or that or this. And by the way, Galadriel's name was originally spelled with the H, so that it was originally Galadriel, but he changed it. Anyhow, but of course, this is not an Elvish name, that we are in Rohan, and so presumably the pronunciation would be Anglo-Saxon standards rather than Sindarin standards. So, because I assume it would be Faldham, and not the DH in Elvish. So it would probably be Faldham. But anyway, as I say, I'm never 100% sure. I wouldn't normally second guess myself, but here, in the midst of Tolkien's world and being always trying to be conscious of his standards for pronunciation, I do second guess myself. So I think it's probably Faldham. But anyway, okay. No, you know what? I'm going to bind to this one because I don't want to return to cliving. Yeah. Just like on principle, I want to cleanse myself of cliving. Okay. Let's see. Cordon, are they behaving now?
Eowyrth sits very near to Fangorn. I would like to see that forest, if we may.
Hey, yeah. No, it'd be great to go to Fangorn. I look forward to that. But to hear Horn speak of it, I cannot imagine he will want us to get any closer to it than Eowyrth. Right, yeah, that's not surprising. Okay, and look, they're standing, facing apart, but not directly apart. You're not fooling anyone, Nona.
I do not understand why Horn is reluctant to return to his home. Or perhaps I do.
Uh-oh. Yeah, on second thought, you think perhaps you would not be quite so happy to introduce Horn to your father? Yeah. Okay, mister, I'm facing 90 degrees away from the woman in which I'm totally not interested and looking, directly towards your home, towards Eowyrth.
I thought we might need to go to Eowyrth. It is my home.
But I have not been there to stay in several years. I returned briefly for a few days after Theoden King ordered me to stand guard, and before I left Rohan. My father was pleased to see me go, I think. His name is Ingbert, and he is the Reeve of the Entwash Vale. He trained both Prince Theodred and Eomer when they were young. Interesting. He trained me as well, but I did not impress him as much as they did. He is a hard man. I hope my family troubles will not distress you. Nona, well, he will not think much of Nona. I will follow your lead at Eowyrth. I do not want my family to cause any trouble for you or your companions. Okay. All right, and the next step there is to defeat mounted foes in Entwash Vale on the way. So, okay. All right, well, so we're all set to do that when we need to do it. Okay. Let's see. So, oh, hang on. So but there's a dude here, right? Is a quest arrow for here or for elsewhere? Yeah, it is for here, I think. Over here somewhere? Hello? Has somebody seen... Let me remind myself of what this quest is. I'm already forgetting. I'm so forgetful. Sehard resides at his farm. Okay, great. Nothwolf believes that Sehard, an elder of Faldham, may be able to shed light on the reports of mysterious beasts. Okay. Mysterious beasts, I'm guessing as they might be láthbears, perhaps? Just a guess, since there happens to be a warband, a láthbear, not too far from here, so we'll see if that suspicion ends up turning out to be correct. Okay, oh, there's a stable master anyway.
Our mission is dire.
Okay. Let's see. So, just east of the mead hall, huh? Oh, I see. He's that one. Oh, sorry. The yellow quest ring I was looking at is for the wrong quest. We shall explore the farms. And so I have an initial lore question in mind. This is an issue that came up in... Hang on. So many fences. Where are we here? Where's the dude? Okay. This is a question that came up in Exploring the Lord of the Rings on Tuesday, and I didn't want to get into the whole... There was a big and complicated issue, which I said I would discuss more during my Gryfflet stream, which I am. So let me introduce you to that as soon as I get a chance to do that. Where on earth are we? Okay, so first I have to... There's the farmer in question. All right, excuse me, children. Pardon me. Coming through. Okay. Have to go in? Okay. Fine. All right, Sehard.
Will you aid the horse lords?
What I know of the beasts you seek is collected from traditional folk tales, stories told by wives to scare children into good behavior. Ah, the old wives' tales. Yes. Of course, they're talking that way, and I love this about Lotro quest text. They are very careful, and appropriately so. They are very scrupulous about following the text copyright. Of course, you will have noticed that when they are, when they're dramatizing scenes, like in cutscenes or in quests, which are part of the text, right? And there's actual, dialogue that could be used. They almost never quote any length. They paraphrase it, and that's because, the copyright to the text is held separately from the license. It's a legal matter, and they're very careful about that. But generally very good about, although they can't use Tolkien's exact words, sticking fairly close to it. But I love it when they never forget Tolkien's words, and Tolkien's words will get inserted by other people in other contexts, right? There's always kind of memories of like specific passages, even when they're not relevant to the particular thing. So this is one, right? You may remember in the initial conversation between Éomer and Aragorn, there is the discussion of and also in the discussion with Galadriel and Celeborn, right? Of tales that are told by wives to frighten children. So again, just kind of taking that concept in that phrase and putting it in the mouth of one of the Rohirrim is a wonderful way to kind of indirectly come back to the text, but not in a way that violates anything. So I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, Phil, I agree. Like when you're around Galadriel, the whole phrase "old wives' tales" really takes on a different dimension, doesn't it? Yeah. Interesting. Matthias says he's noticed that they quote things much more directly in the newer areas. Yeah, I wonder if there was some shift in some conscious shift in policy. There may well have been. It has long been my impression that when there's a licensing agreement, you can handle it in a couple different ways, right? You can like come right up to the line and you can be aggressive, right, in kind of pushing the envelope, or you can play it extra safe and make sure that there's never any even question, right? And it's been my impression from the beginning, just in looking at their material, that the Lotro folks have always been really careful to, I guess it's just my analysis of what I see them doing, that I think they're generally extra careful, and there have been times when I sort of talked to them and I'm like, oh, I think you could get away with this, and they're like, no, I don't think so. Or I don't think we want to try to get away with anything. Anyway, it's so, Matthias, it's possible maybe there was a sort of a decision that it would be okay for them to do that more than they've been. But anyway, I think, as I say, there's much that I find admirable about how they do what they do, even in these earlier areas. Yeah, Ethelod, they do the Eowyn and the Witch King cutscene. It was close, but there was definitely still paraphrase. I mean, that's a passage I know by heart, and I just did that during the Gryfflet, the Wiggend marathon I did when I did the Battle of Pelennor Field. So as I recall, yeah, I mean, there's definitely some, but I'm pretty sure they're not quoting whole passages there, even there. Yeah. Anyhow, yeah, it's possible, Matthias. It's possible that something in the licensing agreements has changed. I don't know anything about the sort of the backstage workings of that. Again, I'm just talking about patterns that you can observe, right, from the game. But again, that's as I say, that's what I like about this. And there are many examples of this where a quotation from the text, or even just a concept or a metaphor or a word choice or something, is made because it's referring back to. I mean, again, if you know Tolkien's words and Tolkien's text really well, you will find them kind of bubbling up all over the place, in places that are not inappropriate, but they might not be identical to the places where those words or phrases or metaphors are used in the published text. So I think it's pretty cool. Okay. Anyway, so he's going to tell me he's going to recall the truth of the matter. Good. Tell me the story, Sehard. Láthbear. I thought so. The once ordinary bears possessed by foul spirits. Fascinating. Their wicked hosts have been warped into dangerous, frightening creatures intended for serving a darker purpose, you'd think. None that I know have ever claimed to see such a sight, and I had thought them naught but a myth. The local sightings have greatly concerned me as the terrifying description matches with the láthbear tales. Yes.
What brings
Okay.
you to these lands?
You must inspect these beasts for yourself. Take this meat and set it before the creatures of the woods. I know not if this will lure a láthbear, but if you manage a closer inspection, be ready to defend yourself from their wrath. Inhere, a guard of Faldham, has gone east to explore the edge of the woods not long before you. When you are satisfied with your inspection, seek out Inhere to discover what he may have learned. Okay. All right. Very good. So that is fascinating. So the láthbear, then, is intended to be... Okay, so let's see. Where am I headed? Oh, oh, no, that's for the epic quest, the purple. Okay. Wait. No, it's the green. Where is my green zone here? Oh, no, it's just a ring. I was looking for a zone. Okay. Fine. Okay. Well, I was going to talk about my other issue, but let me talk about láthbears first. Yeah, I really might want to take the epic quest off my tracker. That's a good call. Hang on a second. Because, yeah, I shan't be following that one for some time. Remove. Good. Okay. Oh, and is Swert Ripper about? I wonder? No, I don't see him. Sad. He fears me. Anyhow, láthbears. So, are there láthbears in the text? No. This is something that the Lotro folks are making up. There's no evidence of this. It's a word that they've made up, though on good sound Anglo-Saxon principles. You might remember that the prefix láth is used in the text. It's used in the text by Grima, right, when he's talking to Gandalf, when Gandalf first shows up in Edoras. Lothspell, I name you, he says to him, right? And Lothspell is literally the opposite of the word Godspell, good news, which is, of course, where the modern English word gospel comes from. It literally means good news in Anglo-Saxon and Middle English. So Lothspell is the opposite of that. Ill news, right? Is how immediately afterwards Grima translates that, right? So Loth is the opposite of God. And so a láthbear is just an evil bear, an ill bear, right? And not ill in the sense of a sick bear, right? But in the sense of this is a bad bear, right? There's something deeply wrong about this bear. So anyway, it's not a Tolkien word, but it is constructed on Anglo-Saxon principles, and it's all fun. However, the concept that he's describing in the láthbear is let's see. Oh man, I was hoping to stealth myself before they arrived, but that's okay. Hey there. So you are ugly. Yeah, you got like spikes on your back and stuff. That's not a good look, man. Oh, okay. There we go. Is that it? Do I get to go back now? Oh, no, I need to kill a third one. Okay, fine. No, I can't. Oh, here he is. Whoa, it's Swert Ripper. Okay. Look at that. I was kind of hoping to be mounted when I met you. Good grief. He wasn't meant to show up, was he? Hang on, I'm going to have to hide. Oh, no, he's running away anyway. Thought better of it, did you? Hang on a second. Let me get back on my horse, and I'll come settle up with you. Whoa. Whew, that was alarming. Okay. All right, Swert Ripper, you get back here. Yeah. We have some unfinished business. Trying to take me. off my guard. Trying to get an unfair advantage of your, like, the fact that you're about 50 times larger and heavier than I am. Why I'm on foot and just awaiting other... I wonder if Swert Ripper will count towards my láthbear total. Anyway, okay. But so as I say, the láthbear is not... it's not a Tolkien creature. But it is a Tolkien concept. This essentially is what werewolves are. When Tolkien talks about werewolves, and he doesn't do this in the Lord of the Rings, of course, but in the Silmarillion, he does do this. And there's even an implication that dragons also are creatures of this kind. That is, beasts that are inhabited with fell spirits. So this is definitely a thing that happens, and of course, our friend the Rohirric farmer is very right in thinking that there's some specific malice behind this, right? This doesn't happen by accident. This is not like some innocent bear happened to wander too close to, I don't know what, something or other, and therefore, like, accidentally became, was bitten by a radioactive. It's nothing like that, right? This is only done with malice aforethought by somebody evil. Right, this is, and of course the one who was famous for doing this, the Lord of Werewolves, the one who is really responsible for this kind of thing was Sauron. This was like Sauron's gig. Oh, I see, running away, eh? Okay, daunting láthbear. Okay, exactly. Thu, the Lord of Werewolves, is how Sauron was known originally. And so this was kind of Sauron's deal originally. So that he might have, delegated such power or sort of trained some of his servants in such techniques. There's the concept of the Barrow-wights appears to be similar, essentially. Not exactly the same, of course, but the way in which the Witch King is said to manipulate evil spirits and send them into the into the barrows in order to sort of infest them and cause trouble is similar to the spirit in which the werewolves are created. So again, in inventing the láthbears here, the Lotro folks are very much following in the... Wait, I didn't collect my rewards. Are very much following in the spirit of what Tolkien describes. So I'm going to see if we can find out who's making láthbears, who's experimenting with bears. It's not right. I mean, even just for the sake of the bears, it's mean. Okay. Go in and report about the abundant number of láthbears that we discovered. Oh, sorry. I'm supposed to speak to Inhera. Sorry. I forgot. You told me that. That's right. Where is the dude? A different breed. Okay. That's where he is. Oops. Okay. Anyway. Then, while I go find Inhera, with my invisibility hat on, I will... And I do understand, by the way, that, like, my invisible hat is like an orc mask, right? So that it's not that I'm stealthy, per se, in... while galloping like this. It's that it's not that they can't see me, it's that I'm in disguise, right? So I'm concealing myself by subterfuge rather than by pure stealth. I get that. I just find it funny to think that I put on a hat and become invisible, and my horse too. Anyway, okay, Anheda, what you got?
Our mission is dire.
Seems that Sehard was correct. The myths of old are based in truth, but why have these creatures suddenly returned? Something must have roused them from their slumber, and now they are eagerly seeking living prey. Okay. They were slumbering. Okay, but something roused them. Yeah, something is sending them. Something infested them with an evil spirit to begin with, so... Thank you for your aiding in investigating our foe. Rest a moment and allow me to consider what must be done. Okay.
Will you aid the Rohirrim?
Láthbears seem to have been roused by some event, perhaps by the same occurrence that has caused such fervor in the roaming orcs. Yet they largely have remained cautious and distanced, perhaps still fearing the sounds of riders preparing for combat. Yeah, that's right, they're afraid of you guys. If this has kept them at length, then we must convince the Láthbear that the Eorlingas are still here in force. Okay. I will lend you my battle horn. Sounding the horn while riding in the woods will perhaps frighten the Láthbear into a return to hibernation. Maybe. Fear is usually not a way to induce hibernation. But I get you. I get you. Let's see what we can do here. Okay. A disturbed Láthbear. Yeah, disturbing is a little bit more what I would expect from them. Okay, so while I'm soothing, frightening, disturbing, and presumably slaughtering Láthbear, let me explain the other topic that I wanted to talk about to kind of continue the conversation that I had begun on Tuesday in my Exploring the Lord of the Rings class. Oh man, he's back again? Swear it, Ripper? They become disturbed. Okay, sure, yes. Come to me, all ye disturbed Láthbears, and leave the farmers alone. Okay. Well, there's one, like, sitting right there, scratching himself in the groin, but I am just gonna ignore him, because presumably they'll come chasing me when I sound the horn. Okay, so here's the topic. The question was, and let me make sure I am getting this right. Yes. Okay. So you again. So the passage we were discussing was the one where Glóin is reporting about the messenger of Mordor coming to Erebor and Dan's response to it. So. And the question, Angrist, his name is Angrist in the Discord chat, was saying, does Dan know that Sauron is a Maia? Like, or, you know, when they say, like, Sauron the Great, you know, seeks your friendship, does he know who he's dealing with there? Or is there any chance that the dwarves think that it's just some kind of, like, you know, warlord or whatever? And that was the question to which my answer was, it's complicated. And here's what I mean by that. First of all, it's my general impression that many Tolkien readers think too much of the question of whether somebody is a Maia or not. That is, okay, let me see if I can explain what I mean. What I mean is that, you know what? In this little tiny glade, I don't want to do this. Let's just dismount and fight on foot, shall we? Okay, so what I mean by thinking too much of that is that I think that many Tolkien readers think that there is a more rigid hierarchy in place between the Maiar on the one hand and like elves, men, and other creatures on the other hand. I don't think that is so. It is. There's not like you've got the sort of the mortal creatures down here and then the gods up here. And from one way of looking at it, that's exactly the situation, right? I mean, it's easy to say like Sauron is like a god incarnate, a minor god, right? In the larger pantheon of Valar and Maiar. I mean, he's not one of the great ones. He's not Manwë, right? He's not even Melkor. So, I mean, that's certainly a way to look at it. I mean, you can look at people like Melian, right, from the Silmarillion and say she's a goddess, right? And she is. That's perfectly fair. Okay. Hey, look at that. Let's see. I have to talk to Inhira again. Okay. That's fine. So anyway... yes, they are in that sense of divine race, but that doesn't mean I don't think that suggests quite the same level of hierarchy that a lot of people seem to sort of assume or imagine. One of the reasons for this is that there is a very great a very great variation among everybody, right? Like some of the creatures in the like incarnate races, elves and men and others, are very, very great in power and stature. And some of the Maiar are very low in power and stature, are very minor spirits which don't have much will and power of their own. So the bound, it's not like the boundary is fuzzy. I mean, I'm not saying that like, you know, they can kind of go back and forth, like an elf can become a Maiar and not. What I am saying is that there's a lot of overlap around the boundary. It's not like Greek mythology, right? Where like when a mortal encounters a god, it's like, woo, like, you know, there's no, like, you can't, the mere mortals cannot possibly, you know, like operate on the same level as the gods do. It's just not how Tolkien's mythology works. There's a very, very wide range of things. And what's more, to make it even more complicated, they move over time. Right, that is, one who was among the great can become lesser. We see that with Saruman, right? And I don't just mean when Gandalf breaks his staff. That's a big deal, but he already was, like, the path that he was going down already was weakening him, was lessening him. Gandalf speaks of this in his confrontation with him. He has already become lesser because of the choices that he has made. Right. And, you know, and others move up. Again, as Saruman acknowledges when he talks to Frodo at the end, you know, and he says, you know, when he talks about how he has become wise, Gandalf, when he's talking to the hobbits and says, you know, in his sort of Gandalf tone that when he leaves them and goes to hang out with Tom Bombadil while they go into the Shire, right, acknowledges they also have grown. They are greater than they were and capable of doing things that they wouldn't have been capable of doing before. That's not just you've learned a thing or two, right? Which is also true, but there's more to it than that. It's kind of complicated. So Yeah, Phil was pointing to a reference that the Prancing Pony guys made about Glorfindel, and saying that Tolkien talked about him being as powerful as some Maiar. Yes, Phil, I think you're right that it is from the 12th volume of the History of Middle Earth. That's where, so that volume, The Peoples of Middle Earth, is, I was just glancing over on my bookshelf to make sure I attached the right title to that number. The Peoples of Middle Earth, that's like the collection of stuff that like he was still writing down and sorting out in the years before he died. Tolkien, and that is where he makes the final decision that the Glorfindel of the Lord of the Rings is not just a dude with the same name as the Glorfindel of Gondolin, but is in fact the same dude. And so yes, that's where he's talking about Glorfindel. So that's where you would look that up. And yeah, I mean it's not some of the great. So to take this to sort of to take that kind of that sort of discussion to the next level. When Feanor thinks he can take down Melkor, it might seem like really crazy kind of Captain Ahab level stuff, right? Like I mean, like in Moby Dick, when Captain Ahab says that he would smite the sun if it offended him, right? The idea that Feanor thinks he can go and wrestle the Silmarils back from Morgoth, one of the most powerful of all of the most individually powerful originally of all of the Valar, it seems insane. Right, completely nutso. And it is. I mean, he's delusional. There's no question about that. But he's not quite as delusional as it might sound, right? This is, it's not quite as delusional as it might sound. Anyway, sorry, let me... Okay, if the threat of mounted warriors does nothing to discourage these brutes, then they are indeed more dangerous than I had perceived. So you were kind of thinking that gigantic bears infused with malicious evil spirits were maybe not so dangerous? Yes, more drastic actions. Do let us take more drastic actions.
Our success depends upon our strength.
The spirits will not be intimidated, and our problem can only be resolved when the matrons of the sloth have been dealt with. Finding the matrons may prove difficult. The láthbear have been secluded in darkness, lurking among the shadows of the valley to the east. I believe this is where their den may lie. Search for the láthbear den beyond the trees and eliminate any matrons found within. Take courage, for the dark spirits that infest the láthbear may still be restless within their dwelling. Oh, there might be like some free, like, dark spirits roaming about? Okay. All right, yeah, you go back. I'll take care of things here in Hera, no problem. All right. So, how many corrupted matrons do I gotta... Oh, I just gotta enter the den. Right, okay. Alright. We'll see what we can do. I assume it's up where things are all misty and spooky, right? Okay. Anyway. So... Yeah, now, Phil, you're right. Feanor was more powerful than Fingolfin, and Fingolfin did, hold his own against Morgoth. That's true, but realistically, it is not like Fingolfin had any real shot at winning that battle. I mean, he was essentially, I don't know. I mean, it was an act of despair. I mean, he was seeking his death. It's not quite fair to Fingolfin to say that he was committing suicide by Morgoth. There was more to it than that. That doesn't really do justice to the situation. And yet, it's not wholly untrue either. He was going deliberately towards death. But anyway, the point is, you're right. He still was able to hold his own against him and to leave him injured right afterwards. So it certainly does point to the fact that this is not an I will smite the sun if it offends me kind of situation, right? Yeah. Hey, sorry. Yeah. Let's see. Canada Gesgini. Anyway, I'm trying to figure out how to do your G's. Anyway, hey, I'm Corey Olsen, the Tolkien professor. I am not a developer of the game. I'm not. I'm not speaking from backstage. I am a professor and Tolkien scholar who loves the game and here talking. So I'm here playing the game and discussing questions of Tolkien lore. Wow. Okay, so nice. So I could tell that this must be where the cave was because of all the mist and stuff. That it sort of at least symbolically recalls the evil spirits that have come in and are infesting the láthbears. But I had forgotten that there were these like channels of mist coming out, like visible emanations of the influence of the evil spirits. Really interesting. Okay, let's see. Brute force. Okay, the láthbears' malevolent plans are unknown. They may be rallying a host to assail the farms, while the riders of Faldham, sorry, see, I keep doing the Elvish thing, are preoccupied with the advances of the orcs. Strike against them before they are ready for such an endeavor and thin their numbers. Okay, well, I did discover the thing. So, defeat daunting and hulking láthbears. Okay. Can do. Okay. Anyway, what were we talking about? Morgoth, Fingolfin. Right. Okay. So, oh look, he bled out while I was stunned. Oh man, I wanted to one-shot the láthbear. That would have been boss. Anyway, yeah, welcome. Welcome, Canada, which is how I'm going to refer to you if you don't mind. Yeah, glad to have you. So, okay, anyway, so getting back then to the original question, Angrist's original question. So this was all the stuff that I didn't have time to talk about on Tuesday night, and that I didn't really want to get into the larger general question. Because, again, it seems to be based upon the presumption that, well, Dan would care over much, essentially, whether or not Sauron was a Maia, right? And of course, he would, but it wouldn't stop him, right? I mean, those kinds of forces of evil, when they manifest in the physical world, they have to do business with the laws of the physical world. That's pretty clear. Right, that's clear even if you think about it from Melian, right? When she takes on physical form and marries Thingol, she's able to crossbreed, right? She bears Luthien to him. There's and Sauron, right? Sauron is overthrown. They kill Sauron's body, like Elendil, Isildur, Gil-galad, right? Sauron is slain. Isildur is looting his corpse. Now, he's not dead, right? His spirit cannot be destroyed in this way, but his physical form is overthrown. His physical form was his other physical form was dropped down into the abyss with Numenor, right? So, when Numenor drops out from underneath him, Sauron cannot just be like, oh, I am a Maiar, so I am, going to just float up above it. No, he had put himself into a physical form, and when the island drops out from underneath him, he drops with it into the abyss. Anyway, yeah, and Palathul, that is a wonderful point, of course. It didn't bother our Pharazôn that Tar Myron was a Maia. He still captured him, yes. And again, that's a really wonderful example, of course, of that. Hey, look, it's the matron. Oh, wait, but I don't have a quest for... Oh, yes, I do have a quest for you. The corrupted matrons. That's my primary quest. So great. Anyway... Yeah, don't expect I'll be able to one-shot you, but that's okay. That's a wonderful example of, as I say, that sort of, not confusion, but that blurring of the lines at the boundary. the Numenoreans had become very great. And speaking of which, of course, this is another thing that it's easy to overlook. When they attack Valinor, there's risk there. That it's, again, easy to imagine that when the Numenoreans are when Ar-Pharazôn is sort of tricked or essentially tricked, goaded into attacking Valinor, right, and Elvenhome, that he's being sent on a mission which Sauron knows is going to kill him, right, because Sauron wants him dead. And that's certainly true. I mean, that's indeed what Sauron is hoping. But it is also clear that there is a non-zero chance that the Numenoreans at least could do a lot of damage. There's some serious threat there. The Numenoreans come to battle against the Valar and have at least the potential of probably not defeating them. I don't think they're going to be able to take Manwë in a straight-up fight, right? But there is serious threat there. The Valar don't, surrender their authority to Iluvatar and leave the thing up to him because they're scared, right? That's not what I'm trying to suggest about that text. But I am trying to suggest that this is not just like, this is not just like Don Quixote tilting at windmills either. It's just not the situation. So Matt's asking, do we have a sense of the result of physical trauma that wounding and death have upon the Maia? I have the sense that Gandalf's return is mitigated somewhat. Is it less or more so with Sauron? So as far as physical trauma, like in the sense, like how much does it hurt, right? I agree. It is clear that there is a cost there. You think of the two clearest examples that we get of... is this where it just came up? I think it is. Right, but I think it's what I need to do in order to find some other matrons. Let's see. Can we go down this way? Yes, we can. Okay, there are two dominant examples, two really important examples that we get of Maiar who are killed to death, right? Like experience a traumatic death, trauma to their physical form, which leads to their death, and it clearly costs them something. It has an effect on them, a serious effect on them, and those two examples are Gandalf and Sauron. Right? So let me start with Sauron because I was already talking about that. And I'm referring here primarily to Sauron's collapse into the abyss. Sauron's the physical trauma sustained by Sauron at the battle on the slopes of Mount Doom with Elendil and Isildur and Gil-galad is... so there's a little bit of a bad data point there in the sense that he also had his Master Ring taken from him, which means something else there as well. So, you can't just attribute you can't attribute what happened to him after that battle as being due only to the fact that he suffered that physical trauma, right? It's clear that most of what happens to him there is due to the taking of the ring. So what I want to focus on is the Numenor moment, right? When he falls into the abyss and his physical form is destroyed along with the rest of the Isle of Numenor, he is limited thereafter. It actually damages him. His spirit survives. He can't be killed in that way. You just can't kill a Maia permanently by throwing them off a cliff. It can't happen. But you can destroy their form, and that does seem to have potentially an effect on them. Wait, hang on a second here. Let me, just in case. Probably all right. Okay, let's see. Sorry, which bears am I still looking for? I've had enough. No, it's hulkings. I need hulks. Okay. Let me gather a few hulks here. Oh, right, I'm back in the main chamber. Great. No problem. Yeah, so... Okay, so Sauron falls into the abyss. He cannot anymore thereafter take a fair form. So like the form that he took as Anatar, right? Able to change his form so as to be fair to look upon. And able to deceive and able to deceive the elves, you know, as the form in which he deceived Celebrimbor. He can't do that anymore. He has lost that capacity. He has changed. He's like something in his being has changed. When Gandalf is slain, and because like make sure we make no mistake about this, right? He well, okay, sorry. He actually dies, right? Gandalf is not he's not healed and restored. He is resurrected. He comes back and is incarnated again. I never want to use the word reincarnated because that means something different, theoretically, than I mean. But these guys are all disturbed. I need hulks. Anyhow, so, but when he comes back, he's changed, right? Now, he's not changed for the worst, but again, and I'm not saying that he was... yeah, like he's it's not that he's less that when he comes back, right? When he comes back as Gandalf 2.0, right? When he comes back resurrected as Gandalf the White, he's now greater. But there has been a cost. I mean, it is clear that it was painful. He has suffered, Gandalf has, during his ordeal of dying, right? And having his physical form destroyed. The physical form really means something to the Maiar when they take it. Like I said, they've got to do business with the physical world when they take on physical forms. Whether that means, you know, begetting children when you're married or being subject to death when somebody sticks a magic spear into you. I always like to think, by the way, that it was Gil-galad who struck the killing blow. Might not have been, but I always like to think that it was. Come on, seriously, why are all the hulking bears hiding? Oh, come on. It's so annoying. Okay. So, Glorfindel and the Balrog. Yes, great. So, the two Balrogs that we see die, right? One slain by Gandalf and the other slain by Glorfindel. And then, of course, if we also count Gothmog, well, we don't see Gothmog die, but we're told that Gothmog is killed by Ecthelion. And if you read the Book of Lost Tales version, which you can now conveniently find in the new version of the Fall, in the new volume, The Fall of Gondolin, published recently, then you will know that Ecthelion kills Gothmog in the most metal way that anyone has ever killed anybody in legend, so that was pretty awesome. But anyway, hooray! Okay, I've afforded the people a reprieve. Excellent. Okay, so... But yeah, so Balrog's dying. Yes, the Balrogs were killed, but they are still Maiar. I mean, again, they aren't mortals. Do I believe that those Balrog spirits are still out there somewhere? Yeah, they definitely are. Again, they can't just be killed in that way. But do I believe they've been taken out of commission more or less permanently? Yes. Again, based on what we see. when something like that happens, when they are slain and when they take on the kind of physical form that they did and they are slain and overthrown, it means something. So I do not believe that the Balrog of Moria can just regen, right? That I think is not at all how that's going to work. But it also doesn't mean that he's been, like totally removed from the planet either. He's an immortal spirit. He can't be removed from the planet, because that's what Balrogs are too. Anyway, so yeah, again, the big moral of the story, I mean, the primary thing that I would emphasize is that the lines between mortals and Maiar are nothing like as hard and fast as you might think or assume. Some mortals can compete in power. There are mortals who are more powerful than Maiar. There are when Maiar take on physical form, they can be killed and therefore damaged significantly. They because, as I say, things do move up and down, that sort of great chain of being, right? That scale of stature that they have, that power that they have. I do believe that the slain Balrogs of old and the one that Gandalf did in still exist as minor spirits out there, but they're not going to be. They're going to be only, as it were, a shadow of their former self. Do I got to talk to him? Yes, I do. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So I hope that is interesting, and if Angrist is listening, I hope that that satisfies a little bit more than my sort of more cursory passing over the subject and exploring the Lord of the Rings, because I didn't want to get too far away from the text, the passage of the text that we were discussing in the Council of Elrond. Okay, yep, I pretty much did some extermination out there. You're going to pass on the tale of my deeds? Great. So that the danger may be heeded, accounts of the láthbears' danger may be heeded as a warning of true peril, and not told as a harmless fable or children's tale. Okay. All right. Yes, you might have learned a difficult lesson had I not intervened. No problem. Okay, I'll go tell Nothwolf that I have solved his little problem. Okay. Good has been done here. You know what? I'm not going to try to ride my war steed through there. Feels, again, you'd think that these horse people would believe a little bit more in straight lines, though I suppose they don't generally gallop their horses through, the farm lanes here, as, for like public safety reasons. Okay. All right, so we're going back. Okay, wait. Oh, and merchant and guard captain at the trader's outpost? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, next time I'm headed north, I'll make sure to talk to him. Okay. Oh, right, because I defeated a warband. Right. Hey, Nothwolf. No problem.
You aid the horse lords.
Took care of it. Facing the orc threat. Bring it. Ooh, a light halter of the Norcrofts. Okay, see, but I don't want to wear the heraldry of cliving. That's my problem. Yeah. Yeah, it really is.
Thank you for your help.
Okay, good. No problem. Alson has been heard worrying about the crofters and their lack of preparation. Okay, speak with Alson and inquire about lending a hand. Great. He's outside, yeah? Okay. Yes, Phil, exactly. It's not a lynch mob. Look, it is a noble rising against an unjust lord, right? I mean, yes, I'm trying to foment a coup, but we have right on our side. Let's see. Where are you, Mr. Oswin? You're here? Okay. Oh, there you are. I see you up in this corner. Okay. Oh, has anyone listened to me? You mean for the coup? Yeah, see, I'm still trying to work on his daughter because she's the obvious figurehead, right? I mean, yes, it's true that but there's a certain amount there. I mean, there is kind of a glass ceiling on the whole Shield Maiden situation. So, would the men follow her? I'd like to think that they would. The fact that the Eorlingas rallied behind Éowyn is a good sign. And I don't just mean on the battlefield. I mean, remember when in the discussion about who should be left in charge, right? When he says, when Theoden says, Éomer I cannot spare, and he's the last, forgetting that, there's a woman also. Again, so Theoden, completely, not even contemplating the fact that Éowyn, a woman, could have a leadership role, right? But the people say, yeah, he's not the last, right? There's Éowyn, his sister. And the people will follow her. So that's my precedent, right? My precedent is that the people of Cliving, who obviously must all see that Athelward is bad news, right, and is probably actively conspiring with the enemy and allowing the orcs to destroy their lands, will surely rally behind his daughter, who is obviously awesome, right? But unfortunately, she's not really into it, so it's too bad.
Rohirrim will need your...
Okay. I hope she'll come around eventually too, Phil. Not giving up hope. But in the meantime, I'm going to try to settle things elsewhere in the land and then come back to it, presumably after doing lots and lots of quests at Hutbold. All right. Thane Elfmar has given word that the Elfward are to prepare their steeds and equipment for what will be a dangerous assault against our home. Okay. I must keep focused on this task, but I cannot help but be concerned for the people. Right, the crofters are terribly unready for the coming siege. They're certain to die fighting. May I entrust you with the aiding of these people? Sure. Yeah. That's great. Yeah, let's do this. I'm all about helping the locals, and then maybe they will flock to my call when we rise against Athelward. Let's see. Hey there, Thorgur.
Aid the Rohirrim.
Thorgur. Boy, your name is hard to pronounce. Because, see, so the Y in Anglo-Saxon is pronounced E. And so it's like oo. The U is oo. And then the Y is E. So it's pronouncing a name like that with a U followed by a Y in the two different syllables is kind of challenging. Thorgur. 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 Okay, sorry. Hi. I imagine you are familiar with siege tactics, defensive positioning, and the like. Do our farmsteads appear ready to withstand an enemy's charge? No. Okay, more must be done to protect our homes. I beg of you, assist us in boarding the openings. A well-boarded window will make it difficult for an orc to penetrate or to easily peer inside to look for prey. Okay, so about that. I've got to tell you, Thorgur, that my assessment is that boarding yourself into your house is not a horrible idea, of course, but given how flammable your house is, that doesn't seem like the greatest idea. I mean, taking refuge inside your wooden house, I mean, it's good that they can't, climb in the windows or shoot arrows through the windows to attack you inside. That's important. But like, what on earth is to stop them just torching your house from the outside and standing back and watching it burn? I mean, all of these houses, well, okay, some more than others, I suppose, but like the thatched roofs, it's not a good look.
The Rohirrim will need your aid.
Okay, Theoden King keeps safe only those within his walls. Oh, so you guys are headed out to Aedoras. Okay. But you worry about providing for your families. Do you want some pelts? Okay. All right. You're going to flee. I get that. That makes sense. Not going to judge. Does that mean I don't need to board your windows? Well, you don't have any windows. Oh, no, look. They're already boarded. Excellent. Oh, dude. Oh, hurry. Yeah, I've got a time limit. No, forget the boarding of windows. Okay. Let me go hunt some bear then. Good grief. Didn't know you were in such a hurry to leave as that. Okay. Hey there, Hollygar. I'll be right back. I gotta go. I've got like urgent bear hunting, apparently. So let me do that. Oh, yeah, hang on, let me dismount here. Oh, and hang on, I gotta trade up my horse. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Just continuing to get my blue line all set there. Okay. Okay, no problem. We'll hunt some bears, and I will see if I can answer another question or two. So hang on a second. Let me consult my question list here. All right. Let's see. Sorry, I was laughing at JJ48's question that he asked on Tuesday night about does Sauron in his post-Numenor form have a nose? Yes, he does, but it's an ugly nose. That's the thing that you have to keep in mind, JJ. He is able to take a physical body again. We know this because he is killed again, right? But he's not able to take fair form. So he can only take an ugly and disfigured nose in his, further incarnation there. So that should, I hope, answer that question. Oops, sorry, accidentally came to a stop, which is not what I wanted to do, nor run into a tree. Also not what I wanted to do. Okay. Next question. Let's see. Did I kill that guy? No, I didn't. Sorry. Okay, trying to do mounted combat while looking over and checking my lore questions is challenging. Let's see. Okay, so Soft Snakeger was asking, does Gondor and Arnor reflect Eastern and Western Roman Empire, respectively? Arnor also just felt like the Western Empire did in the medieval era. Okay. Do they reflect that? Okay, I hesitate and pause in answering this only just because I don't want to be misunderstood. I think that, yes. I mean, the answer is yes. There is definitely some similarity. Tolkien did make some comparisons, for instance. Oops, did it again. Accidentally hit my stop skill. Tolkien did make some comparisons between Gondor and, like a more sort of, more like Byzantium. But I wouldn't go very far with this. that kind of question makes me uncomfortable, and the reason it makes me uncomfortable is that there's a kind of implication, and I don't mean that this person is like attempting to imply something, perfidious, but I just mean, if by the question one means, is it like a kind of allegory of it? I mean, is he trying to render in Middle-earth like that Arnor is the Middle-earth equivalent of the Western Roman Empire, and Gondor the equivalent of the... No, it's not like that. I don't think that he was thinking of Arnor and Gondor. He wasn't thinking of Byzantium and Rome. Sorry, other way around, respectively. That's just not what was going on. So if you are looking at them and thinking and like drawing an equal sign, don't do it, because it's not going to help you understand what Gondor and Arnor are about. But are there some parallels? Yeah, there are some parallels.
What brings you to these lands?
There are some ways in which they're not parallel too, but it's an interesting comparison and contrast. But there are several things. Yeah, Ethelod, the sense that civilization has regressed from old heights. Absolutely. Yeah, that's one of the things that we get, the way in which, there were like the two which were originally one and then separated, and then each one of them declined separately. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are definite parallels. But anyway, hey, no problem. You're welcome, man. Good luck. Have fun in Aedoras. I'm going to keep going looking for windows to board up and new quests to take. There's another unprotected window. Anyway, can I do that from my mount? Yeah. Excellent. Okay, so yeah, again, I would say yes, but cautiously I would say yes. Whatever you do, don't just draw an equal sign.
The Rohirrim will need your aid.
Okay. It is said that a farmer is only as effective as his tools, and I am sorely lacking many of the tools. I have need of many tools. Oh, that you lent to people. Yeah, okay. All right, gather up your loners. Okay. Yeah. So as I say, just don't draw an equal sign. And this, did I see Maven on here? Is Maven present this afternoon? Because Maven, I've been listening to the first episode of your new podcast, The Time That Is Given Us, with Rinrus, which I'm really enjoying, by the way. And that was a lot of fun. You guys were discussing allegory, right? And you came to the moment in your session where you were talking about doing the Lectio Divina thing, doing the allegorical reading of the text, and there was that moment when like both of you were not uncomfortable. It's not like you were uncomfortable about what you were doing, but when you were anticipating Tolkien fans being uncomfortable with it, right? Anticipating people saying, but like, hang on a second, Tolkien doesn't like allegory, is this okay? Or is this an okay thing to do? Listening to you guys talk about that, it's been kind of on my mind. And the thing that I would just add to the discussion that you guys were having there, was, that the thing that so Tolkien says he cordially dislikes allegory, and a lot of people take that a little bit too broadly, right? I've heard Tolkien fans say Tolkien says he doesn't like allegory, so that means it's always inappropriate to read anything as an allegory. Tolkien never uses allegory, and allegory is like Tolkien hates everything about allegory and has nothing to do with any of it. That's not what he means at all. He is speaking about a very specific thing that if I could try to, and here, this is my interpretation. When I look at what he says and I look at it in the context of all the things that he wrote, here is how I understand what he is saying there. What he is saying is he hates the kind of allegorical reading which makes the story itself only the vehicle to talk about something else, right? So if what he objects to is people saying, so the Ring of Power, it's really the nuclear bomb. isn't it? Right? This is an allegory of World War II, right? So what you're doing in writing this story, your motive for writing this story, is to tell us something about, to make a point about World War II, right? I'm tracking with you, man. I'm getting to the heart of the matter. That's what you're really trying to say, right? And Tolkien hated that action. Hated it, right? Because what it does is it encourages people not to look at the story, not to read the story, but to read through the story, right? To just try to like decode the story. And what happens when you decode a message? Then the original coded message, like what was actually written in code, like once you've penetrated to the real message, you throw away the rest of it, right? The actual thing that was written doesn't matter anymore. So if you write a letter, which is a code, right? The thing that you actually say in the letter is literally meaningless. It's unimportant. All that matters is the true message that you are pointing to through the code, right? And that's exactly how he does not want people to read his story. He does not want people to be like, okay, ring equals nuclear warhead, and so therefore and then because then what happens? Then you throw away the ring, right? Then you throw away the whole story. He doesn't want people to approach his story. That is not what he was doing. To give a readily accessible example of the kind of story that he is saying The Lord of the Rings is not, take George Orwell's Animal Farm. George Orwell's Animal Farm is a brilliant story. It's a really, really clever little allegory. It's designed to be read in this way, right? It's designed to be read in exactly the way that people were trying to read many people were trying to read The Lord of the Rings, right? Orwell doesn't really care about pigs. He's not making any statements about pigs, right? And if you were to read Animal Farm and come away from Animal Farm with lessons to be applied to animal husbandry, you're doing it wrong, right? That's not what that book is about, right? You're supposed to decode it, right? You're supposed to figure out that what he's really talking about is communism, right? It's like there's you're supposed to figure out like, okay, wait, so who's Trotsky and who's like, that's what you're supposed to be doing. If you're doing it that way, you're doing it right. Okay. That's exactly what Tolkien didn't want people doing to The Lord of the Rings. And again, I think more than anything else, what he doesn't want people to do is just brush off the story, right? He doesn't want you to be thinking this is, just as you're supposed to read Animal Farm and say, hey, this isn't actually a story about pigs, right? This is a story about something else. He doesn't want you to read The Lord of the Rings and say, this isn't really a story about, hobbits and a magic ring. This is really a story about World War II. Because you know what? It is a story about hobbits and a magic ring, right? And you're supposed to appreciate that story on its own level in many other ways. And yes, you can apply it. And yes, he does use symbolism. Yes, he does use allegorical elements at times. He does think allegorically sometimes, but rarely. But certainly, he never intends his story to be read in that way. So, to perform an allegorical reading of a Tolkien text or passage for some other reason is totally legit. It's fine. When Tolkien distances himself from allegory, that's what he means. He's just saying, don't read The Lord of the Rings like it's Animal Farm, because it's not. You're getting it wrong. That's really all I think he means by that. Okay. So let's see. Zaw says, aren't books and films and such to be open for your own interpretation? Yeah, sure. No, absolutely. But that's the point, right? You can, if you want to read The Lord of the Rings and be like, hey, this really speaks to me and is really applicable to World War II and the nuclear bomb, then yeah, awesome, cool. If it has that message to you, there's nothing wrong with that. What Tolkien objected to was people were saying that was his intention, that the whole purpose of the books was just to make a point about the nuclear bomb. And he's saying that is not the point. That is not this is not Animal Farm. It is not written with that kind of agenda. That's not what I'm doing. So again, are you free to do that? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. That's you're totally free to do that. Yeah. So yeah, good. I see Maven was able to post the link to her new podcast with Rinroos there. Really, really fun. Yeah, they were doing the kind of thing, Trish, as you know, that I rarely kind of allow myself to do, which is really think about like applying the lesson. What are like the lessons that we learn from the Lord of the Rings, and of course many of us and me as much as I suspect any have found like really important moral and life lessons in the Lord of the Rings. But I don't normally talk about. Normally I'm just kind of talking about doing as objective an analysis of the text as possible. So it was really fun to hear you and Steve going through and really thinking the text through from a totally different angle like that. That was fun. Yeah, it's not my normal cup of tea, Maven, but not because I'm opposed to it in any way. It's just it's not what I it's not what I do. Again, in a sense, almost it's like Tolkien, right? Tolkien was not primarily, he wasn't primarily a moralist, right? He's not telling you what you should take from it. He just sort of lays it out. And so for me, when I'm teaching, I try to say like, well, let's see what's there in the text. Right? Let's try to understand what's going on in the text. Now the next step, like for you to apply that, right, to your own life, to other situations and stuff, that's totally on you. So anyway, yeah, it's but again, no, I certainly have no objection or discomfort at all. It's just not the thing I usually do. What do you have to say about this lending thing?
Have you with the Rohirrim?
So you borrowed his pitchfork, and then you used it in someone else's stable and left it there. Man, you're a bad neighbor.
Our success depends
Okay,
upon
let's see. What do you have here? A few men have reported horses missing as orc poachers have come and abducted them during the cover of night. The tracks from town lead east and south toward the mountain pass. Rescue the steeds. Okay, yeah, I can get behind that. Absolutely. I've rescued horses before, and I'm happy to do it again. Okay, let's see. I guess I have to go in the outbuildings to find stuff. But this is not the stable. This is the hen coop. Well, these just like... Are those potatoes? I thought those were like sacks of eggs. I'm like, well, normally you don't keep eggs in a burlap sack. That's kind of a... Wow. Speaking of coups, I'm surprised this isn't a destination for a chicken run. Right? We could lead a chicken coup. Or would that be a coop coup? Because, yeah, boy. If I were chicken running, that would be a... Well, where is his stable, then? Excuse me, where's your stable? You do it... Okay, this is not a stable. This is like the paddock. But okay, whatever. Okay, found the pitchfork. I'm going to keep going back. Oh, let's see. Did I do all the boards? I think I did. Yeah, okay, I boarded up all the windows. Got to find that dude's stuff, so I'm going to backtrack to all these other farms. Okay. Very good. Let's see. Looking for more questions here. Okay, so Michael Scheffenacher was asking, and this, I think this is an issue. I addressed this once before. It was a while back, though. Is it possible that there's no actual magic in Middle-earth besides words and music and frightening and to frighten and cheering, and convincing people? It is possible, and I know people who do read the Lord of the Rings without sort of assuming that there is any actual magic. Like if you form if you kind of come in to the Lord of the Rings and say, all right, no magic actually happens, nothing magical happens, everything has a perfectly natural explanation, you can do that. It's possible to maintain that because of how magic in the Lord of the Rings. Oh, hang on. I saw the lantern through the wall here. There it is. How magic in the Lord of the Rings is very sort of, I was about to say laid back. That's not quite right. Low key, right? Nobody's, Peter Jackson, throwing fireballs at anybody else, right? That's just not how magic works in the Lord of the Rings. And it does seem to be often about things like influencing people and that kind of thing. Personally, I don't find that reading a very attractive reading, and the thing I don't find attractive about it, what I mean by that, is that you got to work pretty hard. Hang on, let me talk to Enswith here. Oh, you want revenge?
The Rohirrim have need of
your husband was killed. I was afraid of that. Killed by orcs. He stood alone against them so that I might escape. Oh, man. So you're going to leave? I get you, man. That's horrible. All right, I will kill Gat. I will avenge your husband. Swift revenge. Oh, but I'm not on a timer, so at least that's... Okay, I already boarded up my windows that I need to board up, and I found a lent item here. Okay, let me see. Do you have any lent items up here? Okay, anyway, so what I mean by saying I don't find it a very attractive reading is not just that it doesn't appeal to me as much personally. I don't enjoy it as much. That is part of it. I mean, I do think that a Middle-earth that contains magic is a more fun Middle-earth than, one that does not. Oh, hi. Horse not meaning to encroach, just trying to make sure there's no lent items in here. You know what I mean? Anyway, so it's not just that I find it more fun, though. What I mean when I say that I find the reading of Middle-earth with magic more attractive than the one without it is that it fits better with the text. I find that I am continually having to make excuses, right? I mean, because there are things that happen that look like magic and that are even declared to be magic. I mean, Galadriel says she's going to show Sam some elf magic, right? And you can say if you want that, like, although Galadriel says it's elf magic, she gives enough qualifications to that to, suggest that, like, it's not actually magic. It's just a kind of thing that hobbits would call magic, in their ignorance. Whatever. Like, yes, you can do it. Like, you can make it work, but you've got to work hard at it. And there are lots and lots of places in the text where you have to, kind of tilt your head sideways and squint and force it. And it just, to me, if you're just willing to say it's okay, like magic happens in Middle-earth, then everything's easier and more pleasant, and you don't have to work up such a sweat. And for what? I mean, what do you gain by it? I don't get it. Anyway, like I said, it's possible that you can maintain it.
What business have you with the Rohirrim?
Hey, you're welcome for the help. Yep, we'll see if that does any good. Okay, can I get some help with the... Okay, you do have something. It's in your house. Okay. All right. Oh, hey, sorry, Couch Hobo, I didn't see your question. I am not from the UK. I am American. I live in New England, not Old England. Okay, let's see. Anything in here that doesn't belong to you, dude? Oh, you keep it up in your... Seriously, I have to search your bedroom? Honestly. Room by room search? Am I going to have to, like, unmake your beds? Open all of your drawers? Seriously. Where's the thing? What did you borrow, dude? It's either a hammer or a bow, apparently. Let's see. So Canada, you had a question too. Can a horse be undead? Yeah, no. In the movies, they make the horses of the Nazgul look super creepy. I don't know any reason to think that they actually are super creepy. I mean, there's that I think is just for visual effect. Oh, here's your hammer. I thought it was in the house, and it's not in the house after all. You're doing a little cooping, huh? Okay. All right, so I found the hammer. Now, where's the other thing? Oh, in the yard, is it? Okay. All right, and then after that, I just have to locate horses and take vengeance. Which I suspect I'll find in the same place as I find orcs who... No, I will not. It's in the opposite direction. Fine. Okay, anyway, sorry. Okay, so Canada, yeah. So horses, undead horses, yeah. So they're just normal horses. One of the things, by the way, I've never understood about the film depiction. You know that close-up? I always was creeped out by this. The close-up that they do of the hooves of the Nazgul horses, and they have like nails driven into them, and they're bleeding. Right? Remember that? I never got that. I'm like, why would you do that? Like like, are they? I mean, they're. You don't want to injure the hooves of your horses that you have to ride across the continent on. I mean, that's not good sense. But anyway, you know, who am I to question the wisdom of the Nazgul? Okay. Here we go, Darren. But anyhow, yeah. So no, they're not. It's made very in the text. It's made very clear that the horses are horses of Rohan that have been stolen. In fact, Éomer mentions specifically that the orcs, when they raid the herds and studs of Rohan, tend to seek always the black horses. And so that little detail, the fact that they prefer the black horses, is certainly enough to suggest to me that they are, you know, steeds for the Nazgul are one of the things that they're really looking for. Not only to sort of get horses to be directly used as steeds, but to breed them for steeds. So, yeah, absolutely. Okay, good. Okay, let's see. Yeah, yeah. I love that. I'm looking forward to that quest in the Entwash Vale when we meet Shadowfax, protecting the black horses. That's fun. Okay, what am I meant to do here? Oh yeah, stolen horses. Dude, I get seen by the first guard I come across? Lame. Oh, Gryfflet, you deserve the beating you're going to get. Okay. Now, try being a little more stealthy next time, Gryfflet. Okay, let's see. Well, I guess since you killed the dudes who were guarding this backpack, you might as well loot it. Let's see. Nice. Okay. What do we have here? A Ravager. Is that like the mess tent of the orcs there? Don't want to get much closer to that. Ooh, look at these totems. It's the winged totems again. I think these must be fell beasts, right? I mean, they kind of look like really evil owls, but I think they must be fell beasts. You know, like the steeds of the Nazgul. And thus, in a sense, sort of like the Nazgul themselves. The horses are up here, right? The horses aren't like down the cliff where I needn't have even entered the... Yes, they are. Good grief. Okay. Let's open the gate. Run! Be free! See, unlike other NPCs, they know what to do right away. Nice. Okay. That's it? I have to admit, I was kind of expecting to pick up some other quests. Like, for other quests to appear once I entered the camp. So I'm not meant to raid the camp at all? Will I get other quests to come up and demolish this orc camp? I'm feeling unfulfilled. Just leaving this Ninkhai war camp behind me. I will be sent back? Okay. As long as I'll be sent back, then I'm fine to wait. I don't want to have to, like, sack this camp twice. Okay, great. All right. Hey, Canada, no problem. Thanks for joining us. That was fun. Glad you could make it. All right, I'm in combat mode. All right, no problem. Let's outdistance those guys. Which, since they were on foot, we will do swiftly. And then I will keep riding around in circles. What is his quest? Vengeance for Elfingels. Again? I have taken threefold vengeance. I think that is sufficient. Okay, where is... I am going the right way. I'm looking for Got. Is he mounted? Oh, that looks like him. There he is. No, he's not mounted. But his friends are. Lost all my speed there. Okay, Got. I am here to avenge the untimely death of, I've forgotten his name, the farmer that you killed. Okay. Good, good. Now I'm just going to kite these other guys until they're done, because I don't need them. All right. Okay. Oh, yeah. So I'm going until 3 now. I'm going until 3 now. Due to a change in Druid's Fire's schedule. She used to officially start at 2:30. Oh, who are you? Oh, I guess I kept kiting you and... All right, hang on. Heh. You got that right. Okay. All right, Enswith. I avenged your husband.
What brings you to these lands?
Oddly odd, yeah. Good. I'm glad you feel a sense of closure. Happy to take care of that problem for you. Okay, let's see. Who else do I need? Yeah, because I know I did the horse thing, so I just gotta turn in. I think I just turn in my last farmer quest here, and then I can see what comes next, and then I'll be done for the day today. Fun lore discussion though today. Some excellent questions and really interesting discussions.
What business have you with the Rohirrim?
You thought I had... You thought... Go on through. You thought I had Druid's Fire tied up somewhere. No. Perfectly consensual change in the schedule here. Okay, good to know that our friends have been released to safety. We must be vigilant night and day. Okay. Our friends have been released. I love how the Rohirrim talk about their horses, as if they're people. Like equally, on equal ground with people. That's really great. People of Faldham owe you much for your help. A friend of horses will always be welcome here. Hey, Maven, that sounds like something you should have carved on a wooden plaque somewhere, right? A friend of horses will always be welcome here. Anyway, excellent. Okay. So now we can go back to Austin. The farmers have all now been adequately aided. Let's see. Okay. Oh, Ethelad, any news on the EU Moot? Yes. Okay, so everything isn't totally locked down and confirmed yet, but the plan for the EU, it's going to be delayed. It's not going to be in April like it's been the last couple of years. It'll be in September. Sorry, but the plan is for it to be in September and for it to be in Wales. I don't know exactly where in Wales. We're looking at the beginning of September, somewhere around American Labor Day, basically. So like first or second weekend of September 2020 in Wales is the current idea for the European Moot this year. More details when those are forthcoming.
Will you aid the horse lords?
Hey, happy to help with preparedness for what is coming, man. Okay. And speaking of moots, by the way, the registration for Tex Moot has opened up. We have a brand new registration system, which is a custom registration system just made for Signum's moots. So we've been a little bit delayed in opening registration because we've been testing that and making sure that the new system all worked. But it's working and it's open now. So if you go to texmoot.org or if you go to signumuniversity.org and scroll down just a little bit to see our events panels there, you can click on TextMoot and get to the registration page from there. And there's a direct link to our the event page for Tex Moot 2020 that Druid's Fire just posted. So there you go. And of course, Lotro Maven herself there is going to be our keynote speaker this year at Tex Moot. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So anybody who's in the general Texas area, it's in Houston this year. So it's in Houston on Saturday, February 8th. So I encourage you to come and join us. Really looking forward to getting back to Texas. This is my third year now going down to Texas in the early part of the year. So very good. There is not a Mootcast option, unfortunately, Phil. We're not doing Mootcast for our regional Moots, only for Myth Moot. So there will be the Mootcast option for Myth Moot this year, but not for the regionals.
You did very well.
Okay. Hey, no problem. Always happy to help. Okay. Langfrith, one of the wisest of the Elf Ward. Okay. All right. Is he perhaps concerned about the large war encampment of orcs that's really quite near to your town here? Because, if so, I can understand why. Okay, so let's see. There's Langfrith. Great. Okay. Yep, we're totally done. Absolutely done here. Yeah, okay, there we go. We're going to the camps. We've seen activity of orcs, right? Strike against them. We'll do. All right, so we'll set out there, back to that camp, and do our... Oh, we've got another thing.
Need your aid.
Locate their leader? Yeah, absolutely. Like I would go to their camp and leave their leader alive. So no problem, Langfrith. I'll take care of it next week. Thanks everybody for joining me this week. Really fun stream today, and I look forward to more adventure and lore talk next time. Thanks everybody, and I will see you guys soon. Bye now. Thanks for joining in on my rambles around Standing Stone's brilliant digital adaptation of Tolkien's world. If you enjoy these adventures, please consider supporting this and other entertaining educational programming by donating at signumuniversity.org/fund.